Geek Citadel.
Mad Max and Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain recently released to the masses. These two games have an open world that players can explore in various ways. Mad Max has received average reviews from various outlets, while Metal Gear Solid 5 has received high accolades across the internet. Let's not even pretend that Metal Gear Solid 5 isn't the most talked about game of September 2015. What's the difference between these two hot new releases? People have called Mad Max a repetitious game, while others have given Metal Gear Solid 5 a sign of approval for being a choice-filled experience. What's so repetitious about Mad Max? Isn't it a video game? Aren't all video games, by nature, repetitious? That's not what people mean when they speak about repetition in video games. When I buy an FPS, I have the intention of shooting people multiple times. This isn't the type of repetition that most people are speaking of when playing shooters. People buy Madden every year, but the reason they bought it was to get an accurate representation of football in their hands. The real idea of repetition in gaming isn't the fact that you're walking, running, or shooting throughout the entire game. It's the fact that the game was designed around forcing you to repeat similar tasks while you're doing the walking, running, and shooting. Let's use a game that's a perfect example of mundane quests. Watch Dogs is a game where many of the side missions have Aiden Pierce repeating the same tasks. One of these repetitive quests is about detecting a crime. You will locate a murderer, catch them in the act, and interrupt them before they can kill the civilian. Another is about taking down criminal convoys, where you smash up cars as they roll down the street and finish off the baddies. In all, there are about 4 major side missions that are basically exactly the same as the first time you encountered them. I'm going to call this, and you can quote me on it, repetition by design. The developers themselves have designed a game that by their very nature are repetitious in structure. Watch Dogs is a victim of this in various quests throughout the game, making it a mundane and repetitious voyage for any involved. So what's an example of a game that doesn't suffer from repetition? Grand Theft Auto 5 immediately comes to mind when I think of missions done right. Rockstar is one of the very few game developers that know how to keep a game fresh. From things like chasing after a starlet so you can get pictures of her being handcuffed, to shooting a bunch of aliens after a marijuana trip goes bad. This game has a wealth of variety in the way that missions are designed. It never feels like you're doing the same thing on repeat. You could be walking down the road and spot a man about to be crushed by a truck, or walk into a back alley with the intent to help someone and end up being robbed for your own good deeds. GTA 5 craftily keeps the basic focus of the game, which is stealing cars and shooting, from becoming stale by shifting the objectives. One mission in particular has Michael disguise himself as a nerd to sneak into a social media business. He plants a device and returns home to watch his actions come to life on a television screen. Even though this game is named Grand Theft Auto, the developers understand that so much more can be done in its world. It's variety like this that leads a game from repetition and steers it towards the fun zone. So whenever someone asks why something is called repetitious, let them know it's not in the act of playing the game. It's in the way the game is designed for us to play it.